All right, so this is on Ohio. So Ohio is a state. The biggest association that, or my experience with Ohio, is just being disappointed because I remember I was a big Johnny Manziel fan because I really liked his highlight reel, his reels on YouTube. I thought he was really fun to watch. And then what happened was was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and then he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and then he was just he just didn't do well. And I blamed the Browns. Also, I felt like the Browns weren't starting him enough. So maybe I'll just talk about. I don't even think I have to dive into fun facts because I can just talk about this for the full 5 minutes or whatever I want to do. So they've got the Browns, and the Browns have just been unsuccessful as hell in all regards. And then recently they've had Baker Mayfield, but when they had Johnny Manziel, they had their head coach was Mike Pettin, and then they had Brian Hoyer, who was like just some shitty like backup quarterback that they brought in, and he was their guy to be like the old guy that they have the new quarterback like learn from. But then I just kept rooting for Brian Hoyer to get injured, and then eventually it was so bad that when Brian Hoyer got injured, they didn't even start Johnny Manziel. They started the third string over him, which actually meant that Johnny was the third string, and that was just so sad. I just wanted to watch because he was so cool in college, and I didn't watch any of his games live, but I saw the highlights, and it was just so exciting. And I had a draft magazine about the draft that year, and it was like, whoa, this is so cool. I was so invested because I read that magazine on a flight. Incidentally, the flight was to Texas, so I read that magazine, and I got all excited. I watched the highlights. I was like, wow, I actually wanted him to get drafted by the Vikings, and I was pissed. I was pretty pissed off when he didn't get drafted by the Vikings, because the Vikings could have drafted him, and then they didn't. And then the Vikings ended up drafting Teddy Bridgewater, and Teddy Bridgewater had a great first game, and then he got kudos from Fran Tarkenton, who was like historically the best Vikings quarterback, I think. A famous scrambler too, kind of like Johnny Manziel, but Teddy Bridgewater ended up being kind of shitty too. And then so I don't know. This video is supposed to be on Ohio. What else is there to say? Ted Mosby is from Ohio. He's a fictional character from How I Met Your Mother. Ohio gets a lot of jokes made about it, and it's kind of a funny state because of that. And then you got the Cleveland Browns, which are probably the most mocked team, and they have kind of a ridiculous brand. It's just an orange football helmet, and then they're called the Browns, which is just a color, and a color that doesn't represent anything. It's not like the blues or the something, like it's just the color, the brown, and then the orange helmet, and then it's like, what are they even doing? The answer is they don't know. And that's Cleveland. But then Ohio is interesting because Ohio has Cleveland, it has Columbus, and it has Cincinnati. It has like three big cities. It's weird to think that they have two. That Ohio has two national football teams, and Oregon has zero. Of course, there's only one major city in Oregon, but when I realized that Ohio has two NFL teams, I was surprised. It just surprised me. What's the population of? Let me find out what the population of Ohio is. Ohio population. Oh, it's 11 million. That's so many people. I didn't realize Michigan had 10 million. Where do people live in Michigan? I don't even really understand that. Population seems to be growing at a slow rate, but still growing. Oh, and Ohio's flag is kind of weird. It's like an American. It's like a weird version of the American flag. I don't really understand it. It's like with an O on it. It has an O, and then it's got kind of the absence of a triangle on the right side. It's pointy. It's spiky. It's not a traditional flag shape. It's like this. It's like a wedge, and then it's like a wedge, and then it's got a missing triangle, and then it's very there's a lot of triangles and stuff going on. Anyway, that's it for Ohio. Thanks for watching.